Welcome back, DIY car guys and car girls. We have made progress. And today, let's talk about what progress has been made and what all I have done to the S10 to fit this side's long tubes in Mr. Sparkles the S10. That's what we're talking about today. So headers on this side clears everything, all the wires, everything has been relocated and moved. I'll briefly recap what I did in past videos. You want to see the past videos? I have 1 and 2. This won't be number 3 of the header install, but I just want to give some of my viewers a brief overview of what I have done to this guy right here. So if you haven't seen those videos, go back and watch them. We'll quickly go over them. Number 1, since my motor sits back a lot further than the commercial mounts, I have DIY motor mounts. I had to take the steering shaft and move it up. That's number 1. All the wires that go down this way, the exit right here, all that has to be relocated because these are a Fenderwell exit header. When you get headers this big, they won't go on the inside, they go on the outside of the frame. So everything here, you must relocate and move, including the brake line right there. I tucked mine back up in there, down that way, away from the heat. So that works out all nice and dandy. And unrelated to all this, I put in brand new ball joints, upper ball joints right here. And I also put in a new hose right here for the brakes because it was all pretty dilapidated. Let me show you the stuff I took out. Yeah, that's pretty bad. The ball joint was still good. It was just the dust cover right here that keeps all the grease in there. It was hanging out, and that definitely needed to be replaced. And here is the brake hose for the front caliper. I'm also going to do the passenger side too whenever I get to that side next. But as you can see, this guy was starting to crack. And, you know, this truck's getting a little quick now. I guess it doesn't matter how quick it is, you definitely need brakes. But I'm going over all this stuff that might look bad. And at the same time I'm doing the headers, I'm replacing this stuff also. And of course, these headers require an adapter flange. They come with a pretty small PP holes, so you're going to have to scribe these guys out or mark them out to the exact size of your heads if you don't want any more restrictions, because why are you going to have big headers if you're going to restrict them down to the flange? So these guys also have to be ported out perfectly to match your heads. I have a video on this. I'll put that in the description and in the pinned comment below. So if you want to go back and check that out, I have a video on this also. And there's also a couple of things where these guys come with their own bolts. I do not like the bolts because they're too long. You're going to have problems with that. So I'm going to stud these. I'll have more on this later. Right now, this guy just bolted up because the next thing that we're going to do whenever I get the parts in is make the exhaust for this guy. So unless you want your S10 to be stupid loud with straight up headers coming out, and if you want to drive it on the street without getting pulled over by the police, you need to have an exhaust. So this guy right here, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to angle it, but it needs to go this way, under the support for your cab, then kind of up, have a round straight through race muffler somewhere in there, and it has to exit, in my case, to make some of these streetcar classes, has to go past the B-pillar. And somewhere in here, I have to put my wideband. I do believe it can either go here or possibly here. So in my next video, whenever I get these parts in, we're going to weld up this side and get all this to fit before I even tackle the passenger side. I want to figure this out before I address the gazillion other things on that side. So before we talk about this guy right here, this is the old headers, the shorties. Now you can get a good comparison of just the major beefiness that is the long tubes compared to those guys. And of course, that has my old muffler and exhaust. So one more thing that made my whole process a pain in the butt is where I put my nitrous tank, because this is my nitrous tank, my enrichment for my nitrous. This guy right here, I had everything running down the outside of the frame. So all that had to be moved to the inside. So not only did I have to move the steering shaft up, redo all the wires on the front there so they don't get burned up on the long tubes, I also had to relocate the lines, the wiring, and everything for this guy right here. Fun, fun, freaking fun. I hope you guys can see this. I got the camera pretty low. So over here, you see my foot? That is the exit of the headers. So it has to come down this way and kind of tuck it in here. I want to be too close to all this because there'll be a lot of heat in the cab. So I got to take the exhaust right around here. The muffler will be, I guess, right in this point. The B pillar is right here. So it has to exit basically right where the camera is, right around here. And that will make it legal for most of the street classes. There's a lot of street classes that don't have, you know, rules about that. There's some that put you in an index. But I would like to go to some of these events and not race with the super fast guys, because this guy is not going to be that fast. But, you know, be in the 630, 6.0 index in the 8th mile. And I think this truck can get there with this big exhaust and a little bit of nitrous and still be fun and reliable. So right here is where it has to exit the exhaust. So that's next. So if you guys want to see me wettle the exhaust for this side, put in the wideband, be sure to subscribe because that's going to be happening next. I haven't even addressed this side right here, which is the passenger side. I want to take this one side at a time because this side has its own challenges and wiring and moving things around. So I think it's best so I don't get overwhelmed because like I said, I still work a 9-to-5 job. So coming home working on this with this much work to do, it's kind of daunting to make any progress, and I'm not trying to rush. I want to do it all right. I want to make sure it works. So if you guys want to see me weld the exhaust up next on this side with a flux core welder, like you guys watch my channel, I do everything with flux core because any DIY guy can go out and pick up a Harbor Freight welder for $100 and build hot rod parts. That's what I'm all about. Cheap, fun, horsepower, and getting out there to track and racing. This will eventually get there. It needs some safety stuff first. You know, I can only do so much as I go along. I don't have the budget as some of these other YouTubers or the time, but it will eventually get there. And if you guys want to see that, check it out. And that's next time. Don't forget to subscribe, keep on wrenching, and peace.